right. Okay, guys, welcome to Shape Up session number 12. I hope everybody is doing well and even following along with the sessions as we've been moving through the weeks. I definitely hope that you've been enjoying them as well. Okay, so let's start off with our dynamic stretching. So we're going to begin first with our three-way leg swing. So standing nice and tall, nice big lift up, and getting the arms in there, really focusing on planting that one side to help with the balance. Now, just remember, if the leg swings are too big, like the range of motions are too big, just shorten them down a little bit if you're feeling imbalanced. All right, so then we're going to cross it over next. Of course, we're aiming for 10 repetitions, depending on how much time I spend talking and get distracted. That's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, so same side, don't change yet. We're going to bring the knee up and we're going to open the knee to the side for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, good. All right, so changing sides. So over to the other side now. Big lift forward and back for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then we'll just cross it over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then we'll just bend the knee and open it to the side. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, so let's bring the feet nice and wide. We're going to do a nice wide-legged stretch here. So a couple different variations. So we've got the first variation. You can fold forward in this variation, bringing the hips back, and then you're sinking into the knees, moving side to side. Okay, now this variation is just a little bit, doesn't work for your flexibility. You can bring it up nice and high, and again, you can move side to side in the same manner, but just in less range of motion, just to help you work on the flexibility and mobility. Yes, I think we're aiming for 10 here. I think we're around maybe 7, 8, that was an educated guess, 9, and 10, and just one more for good luck over here. All right. Okay, so let's bring it back to center. We're gonna walk it back in. If you're in that, just keeping in that forward fold position, I'm just gonna have you slowly round up the back, work your way up. All right, okay, good job, guys. So let's bring the feet hip width apart. We're gonna try some squats, so coming down nice and easy. I want you to just think about bringing the hips behind you, chest slightly forward, moving through all the joints of the lower body, really planting those feet on the floor. And as you come up, I want you to breathe out as you lift. Okay, for a couple more repetitions. 1 and 2. Okay, so again, standing up nice and tall, we're going to move it into some rotation. So around the core, warming up that midsection. So remember to breathe, don't hold the breath. All right. So coming back to center, we're going to bring the arms out in front. Let's hug ourselves here. So remember, if the right arm goes over the left, you'll switch and go left arm over right. All right. Okay, so let's just pivot over to the left side. So the left toe is, the leg is forward, and then the heel, the right heel is to the floor. We're gonna pump that heel up and down, stretching out the back of the leg. Okay, and then we'll switch sides. Pushing the heel to the floor and pumping that up and down. All right, and standing up nice and tall. Now, if you can, let's draw the heel in towards the glute. So I'm just reaching back, extending the opposite arm to that leg that's bent. And again, you can use the wall, you can use a chair for support. And just remember, if you can't get that knee to bend, or you don't have the flexibility, you know, to reach all the way back there, you can just stand and draw the heel in towards the glute. You will feel a little bit more of a concentrated contraction through the hamstring, but it's really focusing on just, you know, lengthening that quadricep muscle. And then when you're ready, let's just change sides. Okay, so again, I don't want to hold it too long. We're not working statically here, and then changing over again. So just moving side to side here now. I tuck my way through that. Remember, you're not holding it too long. I want you to switch side to side. Okay, so let's bring it back to center. Let's get some elbow rotations in there. And then the other direction as well. Okay, and then some wrists. And in the other direction. That's good. And then just some forward and up. Fingertips down, fingertips up. And then maybe clasp the fingers together. We'll do some wrist rotations in this way, just changing it up a little bit. So if I'm over, just remember when you're circling in one direction, we're always going to stop and then do the other direction. So don't, if you're doing this on your own, don't forget to do both directions. All right. All right, now let's try the shoulders. So we'll start up and down first. So up, squeeze, whoo, relax. Up, squeeze, relax. It's a really nice yoga one that I like to teach, you know, just to get the tension out of those shoulders. We usually use it with some sort of a, you know, a breath work. Okay, and then we're just gonna roll the shoulders, and I'm just rolling my shoulders backwards. So just remember what I said, if we do one direction, now we're gonna do the other direction. So moving in the other direction. You guys got this. All right. Okay, good. All right, so let's move on. We're gonna do our cardio first to get our bones going. So I'm just gonna move my mat out of the way so I don't trip on it. Okay, so now just remember that with the cardio portions, guys, like I always give you the low impact. I give you the medium mixture if there is one, and then the higher impact one. So just remember, like, work at your own pace. There is no rush, there's no pressure. You know, if really bringing it down to a basic level for you works, then just do that. All right. Okay, let's see here. Let's see what goodies I have in my book for you guys today. All right, so we're going to start off with 8 exercises, of course, and then we'll do 30 seconds of work, and I'll bring it down to a 10-second rest period. So if you've been following along, you know that's the basic routine. So first one we're going to start off with today, we've got that high knees movement. Okay, here's your low impact movement, and then here's your high impact movement. Okay, all right. So let's get ready. Starting in 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go, high knees, you pump it out. Okay, so the clock is running, we're at 20 seconds. You know, if you have to regress. If you want to jack it up, but just remember, it's your workout, so work where it's most comfortable for you. Coming up next, we're going to do butt kicks. Butt kicks coming up. Okay, so here we have our butt kick low impact, and then we have our butt kick high impact. Okay, so here we go, pump it out. All right, so 20 seconds. Looking good. I can just visually see you. I know it looks great. 10 seconds. Okay. Okay, so lunging forward and coming back. Lunging forward and bringing it back. Forward and back. Okay, so pump it out. So just remember, we've talked about lunges in previous sessions. I'm quite, stingy on the movement, so making sure that that heel comes off the floor and that you're powering from that front leg to bring it back. Okay, so that means that when you power from the front leg, you're pushing through the heel of the front foot. So we're going to do butt kick combo with squat next. So different variations on this one. Okay, so you've got your high impact butt kick, and then you've got your low impact. But then you're going to go 4 of those and then 2 of these. 1, 2. Now you can mix and match. You could do 2 impact, high impacts, and 4 high impacts, or 4 low impacts with 2 high impacts. However you want to combo them is fine. Just remember though, when you're doing jump squats, guys, like if you're doing these ones, okay, you got to be soft in the knees. So when you land on the floor, don't lock your knees out. Okay. All right, so let's try some crisscrosses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so now to bring that one down a little bit, all you have to do is crisscross step. Crisscross step, crisscross step. Okay, so don't get your feet tied up in a knot here. Nice wide steps, good crosses in front. All right, don't trip on your feet. Okay, we have 8 seconds. Coming up next, we're going to do football shuffles. Okay, so football shuffle side to side. Okay, so quick feet is high intensity, and then just slowing it down. Slow is low intensity. And then, of course, bringing it wide. You can bring it narrow. You can switch in between. So just remember, if you're going to go speed, that's high intensity. You just bring it down. That's more low intensity. Okay, we're going to do cross country, as I call them, arms and legs next. So just like a cross country movement, if you were skiing. Okay, so here's your low impact movement, cross country ski, arm and legs, and then you just throw the jumps in for high impact. Okay, so just remember to keep the knees soft. Don't lock them out in those positions. 14 seconds, guys. Okay, so coming up next, we're going to do sumo squats, bringing the feet nice and wide, toes out, and then we're going to squat it down and up. Down and up. So self-check here. The knees are driving out towards the baby toes. Out towards the baby toes. Okay. 15 seconds. Okay, this is our last set. We have a few seconds left. All right, good job, guys. Let's rest it up. And then we're just gonna move on to our strength training component. Okay, so this is where you're gonna need your mat because we're gonna be going to and from the mat or to and from the floor. set it up here so that I'm close enough that you guys can see me, that I don't disappear into the camera. Yeah, okay, that's about good. All right, so first exercise we're gonna do, I'm gonna bring it into, we've got 9 exercises. 2 of them are unilateral, okay? So first exercise, we're gonna bring the dumbbell to the chest if you have one. We're gonna squat down, press out, bring it back in. Squat down, press out, bring it back in. So from my side view, I'm squatting down, pressing out, and then bringing it back in. Okay, so we're gonna bring it on up to 40 seconds of work now, guys. So just working at your pace, you know, don't rush your movements. You don't need to, there's no reason to. You know, some people get maybe 15 reps, some people 10, some people 12. You just work within that comfortable range. Okay. Okay, so here we go. We're just squatting that down. We're pressing the dumbbell out. And again, if you're not using a dumbbell and you don't really have any, you could use a textbook even, or soup cans, whatever you have at home, but you can just do movement, mobility. All right, so pushing away, think about pushing the air so heavy, you're pushing that air away and then whoo, and then you're bringing it back in. So using your own muscles as resistance. Don't just fly through the movements. Like, what good is that? Go slow, control, think about like pushing something away. It really does help. Okay, coming up next, we're gonna do some bicep curls and tricep kickback combo. So that looks like this, and then you're bending over, you've got that full range of motion. Stand up, curl, bend over, elbows tucked in, full range of motion, and up you go. So when you're doing that, now I'm anal on the movement for the tricep kickback. I want you to tuck that elbow in, bring the dumbbell up towards the shoulder, kick it back. Okay, so full range of motion, come back, lift up, then begin to lower the arms down to the side. That sets you up for bicep curl. Okay, so coming up next, we're going to do 2 variations of snow angels. So first one we have is with or without weight, snow angels, lightweight. And then on the mat variation, down here, fingers to the temples, palms space up halfway to the lower back, and then bring them back around again. Okay, so just remember you're flipping the palms up at the halfway mark, and then you're touching the lower back. You can also lift the feet to integrate the lower back and the glutes here to add in more body parts. Okay, so just keep it going, guys. Okay, coming up next, we've got a bird dog or a downward facing dog. So downward facing dog is obviously going to be a little bit harder than the bird dog. So I'll give you both variations. Okay, so we've got bird dog. You're doing opposite arm and leg movement. Abs are tight, arms extended. And then for downward facing dog, you come up. If you know yoga movements, you can do opposite palm to foot touch. You can even walk it out into plank and then walk it back and do opposite palm to toe touch, walking it back out into plank. Okay, and just remember with that bird dog one, I want full arm and leg extended. Arm comes all the way up to the ear, palm faces in, extending that leg directly out behind you. Don't cheat on that one. Make sure the limbs are nice and long, belly's tight. Okay, we have side lunges coming up next. Okay, so side lunge, leg swipe. Side lunge, leg swipe. Okay, so all one side first, don't switch until the next set. So when you're doing this one, making sure that that foot stays planted, and then as you come across, you're swiping that leg, using a little bit of resistance again. Think about the air as your resistance, and you're pushing against it to to move the air out of the way. It's the best way the best analogy I can use on that. And then I guess when you're stepping into the side here, just making sure that the knee is bending properly and tracking just above the toe or slightly back. Okay, then we'll switch up. So with or without weight is fine too, guys. Okay, so stepping to the side, that foot is flat, side swipe, side swipe, side swipe. All right, keep it going. Here we go. Okay, coming up after this one, we're going to do reverse flies. So working the delts, the shoulder muscles. A big weak point for a lot of people. Okay, you can do this one in a seated position or a standing position. 15 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so in that bent over position, we're gonna bring the arms out to the sides. Now just remember, when you do this one, you should see that dumbbell in the peripheral vision as you lift them out to the sides. Okay, if you don't, that means you're flying the arms too far backwards, okay? Once you make the adjustment and you bring the arm forward, you'll feel it right in the posterior delt here. It'll be like, oh, there it is, because it is a weaker muscle. You'll just know right away, you'll feel it. So if you're in that bent over position, remember, you got to keep the abs tight. The back here is flat. I do have a little bit of an arch here in my back. So just remember, it doesn't look like this. You got to flatten it out and arch it just a little bit. You more or less dropping the low belly down. Okay, so let's get back on the mat. The last 2 exercises are on the mat. We're going to do some leg lifts. Okay, so cross over one leg. We're going to do bridges up and down. So try to relax that hip, open the knee, and pushing the stationary foot into the mat. And breathing out. Okay, so all one side first. You can also make it harder by digging the heel into the mat, lifting all the way up, and then all the way back down, okay? So just remember, we're going to switch over to the other side for the next set. 10 seconds left, and then we'll switch. It's a good full body workout today with weights. Good, now just change sides. This is your last set. Okay, so remember, digging that heel in, lifting those toes up will help with resistance if you want to make it harder. Keeping the arms out to the sides. When you're also doing this one, if you want to make it a little bit less stable, you can bring the palms together over the chest and work in that range of motion. And just notice the difference in comparison to the arms flat on the floor. Okay, so we're almost there at 14 seconds now. Three, two, one. All right, good job, guys. Nice work. Okay, so let's grab a drink. That was a good round of 9 sets or exercises total. So just grab a drink, stretch it out a little bit. Remember, if you're stretching, to do more dynamic movements like we do in the warm-up. So as you're resting, I'm just going to refresh your memory where we started, because we're going to do this round again. So I had you doing with or without weight. We did the chest press. So we squatted down and we pressed out, and then we lifted back up again. So just remember that when you're doing this one, the chest stays slightly up, the eyes are on the horizon. And if you don't have a dumbbell, remember pushing the air, thinking the air has resistance, you're still going to utilize those muscles. Okay, so let's get in position. Starting in 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, here we go. So squatting down and then pressing those arms out in the squat position, and just really thinking about keeping the abs, you know, contracted here a little. So don't try to let the belly go. You want to try to really focus on working on that core as well. Okay. Coming up next, we're going to do biceps and triceps again. So 3, 2, 1. Okay, so we've got arm curls. That's your bicep. Bend over, elbow tucked in, kick it back, and then stand up again. Okay, so starting in 4, 3, 2, 1. Curl the arm, bend over, curl the arm again here, kick it back here, bring it forward, stand up, lower the arm down. Then that sets you up to do a nice fluid transition from one to the other. Okay, so bicep curl, bend over, elbows tucked in, kick it back, stand up, lower down, then curl it up. Nice, it's a nice transition between bicep, tricep. Okay, so laying flat on your belly, you can do the one where we do the touching for snow angels on your belly, that's laying flat, or you've got the snow angel one where we're doing it with the weights. Okay, even again too, with or without the weight, if you're on your belly, you're laying flat on the floor, those fingers are touching the temples, palms face up, touch the lower back, and again, back around. So you can lift up the feet to integrate the lower back into that movement as well. And then in that standing one, palms are facing forward, knees are bent, and we're doing that snow angel. You can even do this one standing up, focus on mobility. If you're not using any weight or just a very light weight. Okay, so we're back to downward facing dog again, or bird dog. So we got downward facing dog, toe tap 1, opposite side 2, maybe walk it forward in plank if you want, walk it back, toe tap, walk it forward in plank. Okay, so if that's just a little bit too much, focus on your bird dogs, guys. So opposite arm and leg. Okay, so 14 seconds left. We're going to do some side lunges next with side swipe. Okay, so coming into side lunge, swipe it across, side lunge, swipe it across, and again, with or without weight. When you do this one, like I said, make sure like when you swipe it across, okay, begin. When you swipe it across, think about that the air is your resistance. So you're pushing, think of the air as weight. So you're pushing the air away from you, and you want to feel that in the inside thigh. So just don't kick it across with like no sort of resistance. We can do that, it's not a big deal, right? But what does that do? So use resistance, kick it across, you'll feel that inside thigh contract in here, then you know that you've got it. Okay, 4 seconds, we're just gonna change sides on this one. Okay, so we're changing over to the other side, so just remember that when we're doing this one, we're stepping into this one, knee is bending, this leg is extending, and then swiping across. Okay, so remember using that air as resistance, you're pushing that heavy weighted air away, You're contracting that inside thigh. So just keep it going here. So after this one, we're going to do reverse flies again. So seated or standing. Okay, so in that bent over position, we're going to do the arms out to the sides. So just remember to see them in their peripheral vision. Okay. Okay, so remember when I said about the back too, right? So if you're in that position and you bend over and you have your hands around your thighs, your back is going to be flat, all right? You don't want to see this position. So a good way to get into position is put your hands on the thighs and slowly drop the belly down, just rotating the pelvis. So you're thinking about sticking the tailbone up towards the sky. So that's a good way to get into that back position. And then the arms are flying out to the side. Okay, so 8 seconds. Okay, so let's get down onto the mat. The last 2 exercises are on our mat. We're coming into that bridge position, crossing that one leg over, and then we're doing the hip lift up and down. Okay, so all one side first, and then we'll change it over to the other side. All right. Five seconds left. Okay, so switching over, guys. Other side. So after this set's completed, getting ready in 3, 2, 1. Okay, here we go. So just remember, just stay on the mat after this because we're going to do some work on the mat next. So coming up next, we're going to be doing some core and some glute work. So there's a little circuit. We're going to do 12 different exercises, changing from core work to glute work. Okay, so let's rest up, guys. Grab a drink. I'm just going to change up the work time here. So I'm going to keep you at 30 seconds of work on this one, and then, or drop you down to 30 seconds of work from 40. And then, but I'm going to keep the rest period at 15 seconds because it just gives a little bit of time to transition from one position to the other. Okay, so for the first exercise, what we're going to do, we're going to do scissors. So, excuse me, laying on your back, you're going to bring the legs to the sky. And we're going to do our scissors side to side. Okay, now just remember the feet high to the sky. See, my hip is bent at 90 degrees. I'm actually in a pelvic tilt. So I just take the top of my pelvis, I rotate it towards the bottom of my rib cage so that my back is flat. Okay, and it's important that you maintain pelvic tilt. Do not take your palms and do not stick them underneath your lower back. That is not a pelvic tilt. And a lot of people say, well, I feel back pain, or I feel back discomfort. Well, it's because you're not rotating into pelvic tilt. So get your lower back flat onto the floor and then try your movement. Now, if you lower the legs, all right, it's going to make it harder to maintain pelvic tilt. But if you can maintain pelvic tilt, then by all means do the harder movements by lowering the legs closer to the floor, okay? But if you can't maintain pelvic tilt, you need to be up high. All right, Okay, let's get ready. All right. Okay, so here we go. We have scissors, pelvic tilt, breathing. Okay, you guys keep going. I'm going to get ready for the next one. Okay, so next movement, we're going to do glute kick. So kicking up, keeping the knee bent at 90 degrees, all one side, abs are tight. So sole of the foot goes towards the sky on this one. You don't extend the leg out. You don't break that 90-degree bend at the knee. You just keep that moving nice and strong. Okay. So then after this one, we're not going to change over right away. We're going to go into plank next. Okay. So we've got plank. And then we also have plank at knees. So whichever one is best, just make sure that your butt is not sticking in the air. Okay, so butt stays down, doesn't look like this. Keep the butt low. Okay, so you can either do, you can also do knee taps too. That's sort of an in-between movement. So it's in between, if this one's a little bit too easy, but this one's a little bit too hard, you can do knee taps. So just experiment with your movements. Remember, you can always do the harder one for a couple seconds and regress, maybe to knee taps or holding at the knees. Okay, coming back into all fours. Now we're going to do the other side. Glute kick, not glute raise, not leg raise, glute kick. So nice big lift. So just remember that when you're lifting the leg, guys, that the other three limbs are supporting you. Okay, so reverse curl up. Let's lay on your back. Feet to the sky. Pelvic tilt. Okay, here we go. Big push up. Lifting those hips. So I'm lifting right here. See my lower butt, or my very lower back, and actually my butt here is lifting off the mat. So nice big lift. I got a little bit of space between my lower back. And I'm really just focusing on those very low abs. So I'm just thinking about rotating my pelvis a little bit when I press to the sky. Okay, coming into fire hydrants. So on all fours, we're going to lift the leg to the side. So remember, when you're lifting the leg to the side on this one, you want to make sure that your three limbs are supporting you. So don't push all your weight just to one side. You want to feel weight between the other three limbs that you're supporting yourself with. Okay, so coming into V-sit, and I'm going to have you rotate one side, then the other side. So just go nice and slow. Make sure the head follows through. So as you rotate, you're looking towards that one shoulder on the opposite side. All right, so if I'm going right, my head goes right. If I'm going left, my head goes left. So keep that going, guys. Coming up next, we're going to do fire hydrant on the other side. Okay, so on all fours, and you're lifting to the other side now. Hopefully you didn't forget what side you started with. Now just remember, when you're lifting that leg to the side, you're distributing the weight between all three limbs. Okay, don't lean over all to one side. So you're just keeping the abs nice and tight as you lift. Okay, and then when you're lifting, you're noticing that that hip isn't rotating as you lift. So you just want to lift through the leg and the hip. You're not rotating to compensate. Okay, laying flat on the back, we're going to do some leg circles. So again, back to that pelvic tilt, we're going to focus on circling the legs around, come full circle, and then go back the other way. Okay. So we've got 3 exercises left after this one. Okay, so we're going to do clamshell. So laying on the side, we're going to lift the leg up and down. Now I want you to stack one hip on top of the other, opening up that knee. Okay, so just remember not to rotate backwards to compensate. Maybe keep the hand here in the front. You can do that. Some of the harder ones, you can come into a side plank lift and up and down, side plank lift, up and down. You can also hold your side plank and do the lift with the knee. Okay, just as long as you can maintain the movement and the posture, I guess the posture really, or the exercise, and that your core isn't breaking to compensate. Okay, let's just change over to the other side. Okay, so again, you can lay flat. You can do the side plank. So as you lift that knee up, you're going to breathe out. Okay, and then if you're doing the dynamic movement, you can breathe out as you lift the hip and the leg. Okay, so we got one more set after this. We're going to do bird dogs. And then we're going to take some time to stretch it out. Okay, so coming into bird dog this time, it's going to be opposite arm and leg, elbow to knee, reach. So you have 3 movements here. 1, 2, 3, change. 1, 2, 3, change. 1, 2, 3, change. Really focus on lengthening that leg and arm. Now remember that arm comes up to ear height, okay? Palm faces in, not out or down. Last set. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, since we're already in that tabletop position, let's bring it into child's pose stretch. So maybe forehead to the floor, arms out in front. And then we're just going to walk the arms over to the one side. And then just gently over to the opposite side. And then we'll just come back to center. Now gently press the palms into the mat. Roll the back as like a mad cat. If you guys know the yoga call outs and stretches, yoga, mad cat, and then gently coming into flat back tabletop. Okay, so let's let's bring the legs off to the side. We're gonna connect the soles of the feet together, and I'm just gonna have you rest your arms back. We're just focusing on lowering the knees, relaxing the hips. And then I'm just going to have you practice windshield wipers. So we're going to draw the knees together, and then you're going to slowly open that one knee. And then just like if there's a tether, that other knee is going to follow through, and then you're going to hit lower to the other side, and then same sequence back and forth. Okay, and then just back to opening the hips again, relaxing. Good. Okay, so let's walk it in, extend the legs out. Let's reach towards maybe the shins, the ankles, wherever it's most comfortable for you, and just fold forward, stretching out the lower back, your hamstrings. Maybe draw the toes in towards the shin and breathe. And then we'll just gently walk it back now. Okay, and then let's gently come on up to the feet. Okay, so standing nice and tall, we can go back to that quadricep stretch. Again, you can use the wall, chair for support. Standing nice and tall, drawing that heel in towards the glute. Okay, and then just changing sides, finding a focal point on the floor. All right, let's bring the feet nice and wide. This time we're gonna bend into that knee on the side here, but we're just gonna hold the stretch instead of go through dynamic movement. So you should feel a nice stretch here on the inside thigh. And then just shift over to the other side. Let's bring it back to center, and we'll just roll it up. And then we're just gonna pivot to the left side, okay? And then that just means that you're gonna press the right heel into the floor here. Now we're just holding the stretch instead of pumping the foot up and down. And then we'll just change sides. So let's bring it back to center. We'll just stretch out the upper body, connect the palms together, and then press the palms away, lift up and towards the sky. And then we'll just reach to the left and to the right. And then we'll just come back to center, bring the arms around. We'll draw the palms together, open the chest, roll the shoulder blades together. And then roll them the opposite direction. And then we'll just come back to center. We'll just do some wrist rolls. Again, I'm just clasping my fingers together here, and then I'm just moving in the opposite direction. Okay, and then just a little bit of wrist flexion and extension. And maybe some wrist circles. And in the other direction. All right, okay, guys, nice work. That was shape up session number 12, wrapping that up. So we'll see you back here for session number 13. Again, have a great day today, and keep working out. Excellent job today, guys. Take care for now. Bye.